everyone, my name is Yingshan and my matrix number is 269537. Today, our group will present about the topic 3, budgeting and management control. There's a list of our teammates. Next, let us know about the lecture outline, which consists of 4. The concept of control and management control, types of control, how to design an effective management control system, NCS, and the last one is control mechanism. Now, let us start. The concept of control. The definition of control is a policy or procedure that facilitated an organization to ensure its goals and objectives are met. It can be achieved by setting a standard, receive a feedback on actual performance, and take a corrective actions whenever the actual performance deviates significantly from planned performance. Next, the control focuses on whether the strategy is implemented as planned and the results produced are those intended. Meanwhile, the control has 2 themes. First, looks at control as a domination whereby we impose our will upon others through power and authority to achieve our goals and objectives. Second, emphasize on information gatherings to monitor and regulate activities to obtain the desired outcome. Moreover, there are 2 levels of control, namely operational control and management control. Operational control is the evaluations of operating level employees by mid-level managers, and the focus is detailed in nature and on standard performance measure. It uses the management by assumptions MBE approach such as various analysis. Meanwhile, the management control is the evaluations of the mid-level managers' performance by upper-level managers. Is focused on long-term strategy issue consistent with management by objective MBO approach, where the long-term objectives are determined and the performance is periodically measured against the goals of the organizations. Now, let us know more details about the operational controls and management control. Operational control is the process of providing the feedback to the employee and their managers about the efficiencies of activities being performed. It measures and compares short-term performance to short-run targets or standards. Meanwhile, the management control is the process by which the managers ensures that the resources are obtained and used effectively and efficiently in the accomplishment of the organization's objective, which is stated by the Antonin in the year 1965. Also, the management control is a system of organizational information seeking and gathering, accountability and feedback design to ensure that the enterprise adapts to the changes in the substantive environment and the work behavior of its employees. It measures by reference to a set of operational sub-goals so that the difference between the 2 can be reconciled and correct for, which is stated by the law in the year 1971. Next, the positions of the management control within the organizational hierarchy is shown in a pyramid. The operational control is at the bottom, and center is the management control, and the upper is the strategy planning. The operational control is focusing on the day-to-day operation control, and the management control is for a short-term period, and for the last one, strategy planning is focusing on the long-term period. And now, I pass to my another teammates to continue. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Chang Qianmi. Now, I will present the management control system part. In designing a management control system, which is well known as MCS, there are at least 3 factors to be taken into consideration. First is, who is the interested party in evaluating the performance of an organization? We should know that the perception of every individual is different regarding the job satisfaction or the work ethic. So, when designing the management control system MCS, it is necessary to keep this factor in mind. Second is, what is being evaluated? The MCS is affected by the nature of operations in terms of divisibility within an organization. In some companies, the division is by the product, whereas in others, it can be something else. Third is, when is the performance evaluation will be done? The manager would prefer to get the result in a specific time frame. Let us look at the element of MCS. A MCS should consist the element of planning, coordinating, communications, evaluations, and decision making. Why? An organization adopt MCS is to keep track with the performance of its different organizational resources towards its strategy objective. For example, Judy is the director of Human Resources Department at a small company. Lately, she's been feeling like more employees have been leaving this year than last year. She would like to have some kind of system in place so that she can have the data to either back up or refute her feelings and use that data to coach her team in the future. So, Judy should have an MCS that could track employee turnover. By using this control system, she will know if more employees are leaving than usual and can look into why this might happen. The MCS consists of two components, which are formal and informal MCS. A formal MCS includes the rules, procedure, policy, performance measure, and incentive plan that guide the behavior of manager. One of the examples of formal MCS is Human Resources Department that could provide information on employees' recruitment, training, absenteeism, and accident incurred. Informal MCS cover the aspects such as share value, loyalty, and mutual commitment among the member of organization. One of the examples is a slogan, "Customers are always right," that reinforce their value of organizations and loyalty of customers. How we evaluating an effective MCS? An effective MCS should be close aligned to the organizational strategy and goals, and be designed to fit the organizational structure and decision-making responsibility of the individual manager. This will in turn motivate the manager and employees. Through the reward structure as a part of MCS, and it can be done by tying the reward with the achievement of goals. Reward structure includes the monetary reward like raise, bonus, or material reward such as membership of health club, of a voucher that the employee can reimburse. Besides, the MCS must permit clear link from plain organizational purpose to operational activity. MCS should outline and document the policy of the organization along with the resources and equipment needed for implementing the proper strategy. MCS must be able to assist the manager both when planning and controlling its achievement. The MCS helps the company in comparing the actual and the desired performance about the policy and objective so that it can take the necessary steps if needed for the growth of the company. An effective MCS must enable a manager who wishes to ascertain exactly what output is expected of him and by whom. The MCS must be able to gather the information and data from numerous sources so that the management can check on what and how it is operating. There are two types of controls. First is the task control. Task control is the process of developing standard procedure that employees are told to follow in order to ensure the tasks are carried out effectively and efficiently. The process of task control is typical for most organizations that have workforce. It acts as a supervisory mechanism to optimize the task plan and the employee workload. Its purpose is to provide assurance that every worker is assigned to right task considering the worker ability and skill. The next one is the result control. Result control is a process of hiring qualified people to do whatever they think best to help the organization to achieve its objective, and by using the control system to evaluate the resulting performance. Result control are effective in addressing the motivational problems and personal limitation problems. It encourages all employees to address their limitations and to develop their talents to position themselves in order to earn the result-dependent rewards such as bonus. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Zhong Wenhui, metric number 272703, and now I will introduce the control mechanisms. The first will be culture. It is informal and can go unnoticed. Under this control, people having same cultures approach the same goals and ethics, which means control is achieved through share and inculcate belief. And for example, when a company has a strong knowledge of behavioral controls, hence all staff will have the same objective, which they want to make the company better. And under this control, less supervisors are needed, as everyone knows what should they do without being told consistently. However, more time are needed compared to other control mechanisms, as when the company aims to make changes or adjustments. The second control mechanism is bureaucracy, and this control has a specialization of authority and hierarchies, and a formal root of information and flow of powers. The information will flow from bottom to top, while the flow of power or authority will flow from top to bottom. And the company under this control will implement an explicit rules and regulation. And besides, to ensure the company are in proper control, a lot of sequential supervisions and consequently expenses are required. And the last control mechanism is the market. The control is carried out by the way of market mechanisms. The price information is important for efficient decision making, as price conveys all the necessary information, and this control is require less supervisors compared to bureaucracy. And next, I will introduce the Management Control System (MCS) and the behavioral consideration to design an MCS. The main functions of the MCS is to motivate behaviors that are consistent with the organization expectations, as human interests and motivations can change significantly. And around design MCS must include 4 behavioral considerations. The first will be embedding the organization ethical code of conduct into MCS design, so that the company can avoid behaviors that violate the company ethical codes. And the second consideration is the MCS must use a mix of short and long-term qualitative and quantitative performance measures. The effective performance measures implemented can enhance the employees' motivations, as they are motivated to have a better performance to get the bonus or incentive. And the third is the company should empowering employee to be involved in decision making and MCS designs. And this makes the employee involved feel their contribution is valued, and they will be more loyal to the company and work more efficiently, as they wish to get more company trust. The last behavioral consideration is the MCS should develop an appropriate incentive system to reward performance. An effective incentive system will increase the employees' motivations, as they wish to have a better work performance to get the reward. Through this, productivity can be increased. However, many managers try to implement the new system without considering the behavioral implications and consequences of an MCS. Hence, some negative impact may occur. And the first consequence is goal conquest may not occur. Goal conquest is an important element, and it can be considered as a phenomenon prevalent when individual goals are aligned with the overall objective. And when the company fails to achieve goal conquest, every employee or department may focus to fight for their own benefits, and this behavior may even harm the organizations. And the next impact will be the low motivations, and this condition may happen when the company MCS does not consist of. This ineffective system will threaten the employee benefits and cause them to have a low motivation. And the third negative effect is the employees may be encouraged to engage in dysfunctional behavior, such as data manipulations, gaming, budget slack. And the employee will engage in dysfunctional behavior is because they will make the decision based on their own interests, as they cannot get what they rewarded from the MCS. An example for the data manipulation is the employee manipulate the performance reports of their department to show a better results, even though the information is incorrect, and may even harm the organizations. And for the budget slack, the budget slack will only happen when the employee underestimate the revenues or overestimate the expenses incurred and the resources used under their responsibility without the concerns of the superior or supervisors. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Tan Sita, and my matrix number is 271923. Today, I will continue my part with MCS design. MCS design have to take into 4 aspects, which is ethical code of conduct, pressure affecting, ethics and management accountants, and also motivation. Now, let's look to the ethical code of conduct. A set of ethical principles is at the center of many boundary systems. Therefore, MCS should incorporate the principle of an organization's code of ethical conduct. MCS that incorporates ethical principles of the organizations can provide decision makers with guidance as they face ethical dilemmas. Next, pressure affecting. Managers are often subject to intense pressures from their job circumstances and from other influential organizational members to suspend their ethical judgment in certain situations. These pressures include the following requests, such as to tailor information to favor particular individuals or groups, to falsify reports or test results for confidential information, and also to ignore questionable or unethical practice. Next, ethics and management accountants. Management accountants, guided by the organization's code of ethical conduct and the ethical standards of their professional associations. Therefore, management accountants are often play a significant role in MCS design, which should reflect their professional standards. Next, motivation. In addition to fostering ethical behavior, a central issue in MCS design is how to motivate appropriate behavior at work. Therefore, the system designer should look into three dimensions, which is direction, intensity, and also persistence. Next, goal congruence. The organization and its employee align their respective goals are referred to the goal congruence. Goal congruence will only appear as the employee perform their jobs well and are helping to achieve organizational objectives and attending their individual goals at the same time. Therefore, goal congruence divide into two types, which is diagnostic control system and also iterative control system. Let's talk about the diagnostic system first. Diagnostic control system. Even if goals are aligned, different types of tasks require different level of skill, precision, responsibility, initiative, and also uncertainty. In most situations, managers establish systems that don't have to personally monitor on regular basis, and these are called diagnostic control systems. This type of systems are used to monitor and optimize target and outcome. For example, budget, performance management and measurement, and also business plan. For the iterative control system, managers spend much more time on monitoring the decision and action of their subordinates if there is a large degree of strategy uncertainty. For example, the manager will face-to-face meeting with their employees and incorporating data into management interaction. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Lee Min Hui, matrix number 271751. Now I'm going to explain about the budgeting process. First of all, what is a budget? A budget is a quantitative expression of the money inflows and outflows that reveal whether a financial plan will meet organizational objectives. A budgeting is a process of preparing the budgets. Budgets will provide a way to communicate the organization's short-term goals to its members. Next, the budgeting is a process that determines the plan level of most flexible costs. Next, budgets serve as a control for manager within the business units of an organization. It plays a central role in the relationship between planning and control. Next, budget reflects in a quantitative term how to allocate financial resources to each part of an organization based on planned activity and short-run objective of the part of the organization. These are the examples of a business budget. On the other hand, budgeting the activities of each unit can reflect how well a unit manager understands the organization's goals. It also provides an opportunity for the organization's senior planners to correct the misperceptions about the organization goals. Budgeting also serves to coordinate many activities of an organization. Budgeting also helps to anticipate potential problems. It reflects the cash cycle and provide information anticipate borrowing needed to finance the inventory built out early in the cash cycle. So, if the budget planning indicates that the organization's sales potential exceeds its manufacturing potential, then the organization can develop a plan to put more capacity in place or to reduce the planned sales. After explaining the budgeting process, now let's have a look on the factors relevant to determine the type of the budget. The first one is the type of the organization, such as functional organization, divisional organization, and also matrix organization. The next one is the leadership style. For example, democratic leadership, transformational leadership, laissez-faire leadership, as well as autocratic leadership. The next one is the personalities of people affected by the budget. The fourth one is the method of preparation. There are 4 types of methods of preparation, such as incremental method, activity-based method, value proportional method, and also zero-based method. The fifth one is the desired results of the budgeting process. There are 2 major types of budget, which are operating budget and financial budget. Operating budget summarize the level of normal activities of the firm. For example, sales budget, purchasing budget, and also production budget. Financial budget identify the expected financial consequences of the activities summarized in the operating budget. For example, cash budget, capital expenditure budget, pro forma balance sheet, and also income statement. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Pei Ming with metric number 273812 and I will continue the presentation on budgets as the planning and control tools. The budget are seen as one of the tools with which top management cascade strategic goals to operating levels. We know that the implementation of a company's strategic plan often begins by determining management basic expectation about future economic, competitive and technology goals, both long-term and short-term. The company will also conduct a situational analysis called SWOT analysis at this stage. So after performing the situational analysis, the company will then identify its potential strategies that could help the company to achieve the goals. Budgeting is an important step in the initiation of the company's strategic plan because a good budgeting system will help the company to reach its strategic goals by allowing the management to plan and control the activities such as revenue, expenses, and financing activities. Budgets are useful for both planning and control, where they are used as benchmark for performance evaluation. Planning is one of the important elements in the process of preparing the budgets. We know that planning is the responsible and the activity that is usually done by the top and middle management. The top and middle management are involved in the process of developing objectives and selecting future action in order to achieve those objectives. But sometimes different function or department in an organization will have their objective to achieve. Budgeting acts as a glue that makes different parts of the organization fit together. It harmonizes the enterprise strategy with its organizational structure and the tasks that need to be done to implement the strategy. Planning is only half of the battle. Once the plan is created, it must be implemented, and its implementation must be monitored by managers and workers to ensure that the plan is being carried out as intended. Here comes the controlling, where the organization continuously compares actual performance and with expected performance. The budgetary control systems aims to provide a formal basis for monitoring the progress towards achieving objectives that have been set up in the planning stage, and it is usually functioning in a closed loop. The closed loop refers to the reciprocal exchange of consistent data and compatible plans and budget among departments and management. It starts from the process of planning, where the management develops the objective and strategies to achieve them. The budget is also prepared at this stage. After that, all the business transaction and activities that have an impact on the financial statements are prepared. From time to time, reports and financial statements are prepared and used to compare against the plan and budget that was developed at the first stage. Lastly, the management will respond to the issue in the reporting stage. Planning, controlling, and decision-making activities take place in this loop. Moving on to the examples of the budgetary control systems, one of them is the management by exception, which is the practice of examining the financial and operational results and only bringing issues to the attention of management if result represents substantial difference from the budgeted or expected amount. In other words, the managers only concentrate on the exceptional items and take corrective action on these exceptional items. Standard costing and variance analysis are the common tools that are used by the management to measure performance. Another example would be the flexible budget. It enables the firm to compute expected costs for a range of activity levels. Those expected costs are then compared with the actual costs in order to assess performance. Flexible budgeting is the key to providing the frequent feedback that managers need to exercise control and effectively carry out the plans of an organization. There are two aspects in budgeting. One is feedback and another one is feed-forward. Feed-forward control tries to identify and prevent the problem before it even occurs, whereas feedback control monitors past results to detect and correct disturbance to the plan. Both feedback and feed-forward should function within a single budgeting system because feed control itself is too slow while feed-forward control is too risky. During the budgeting process, managers can explore the effect of alternative marketing, production, and selling strategies. For example, the manager can consider raising the price of the products, opening a new retail outlet, and this proposal can be evaluated in what-if analysis. The structure and information required to prepare the master budget can be used easily to provide the basis for what-if analysis. What-if analysis is only as good as the model used to represent what is being evaluated. The model must be complete, it must reflect relationship accurately, and it must use accurate estimates. A model that is incomplete or fails to reflect relationship accurately or use unreasonable estimates will not provide good estimate of a plan's result. If the model is complete and reflect capacity, cost, and revenue relationship accurately, the remaining issue is the accuracy of the data used. Planners test planning models by varying the model estimates. However, if small forecasting errors of an estimate used in the production plan change the plan, we say that the model is sensitive to the estimate. If the performance consequences, for example the profits from a bad estimate, are severe, planners may want to invest time and resources to improve the accuracy of the estimates. That's all from me. Thank you.
A very good day to our lecturer and fellow friends. My name is Goylin and my metric number is 270896. I would like to continue the presentation with the discussions on sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis can be defined as the process of selectively varying a plan's or a budget's key estimates for the purpose of identifying over what range a decision option is preferred. In other words, sensitivity analysis is a what-if technique that examines the impact of changes in underlying assumption on an answer. Therefore, sensitivity analysis enables planners to identify the estimates that are critical for the decision under consideration. Now, let us look at an example, which is sensitivity analysis for capital budgeting. Capital budgeting refers to the process by which a business determines whether to take on a certain project. Normally, the analysis involves estimating the amount of money the business has to invest and the amount of revenue the project will generate. In this situation, sensitivity analysis provides additional insights for the business in order to make the investment decision. Basically, sensitivity analysis helps a business estimate what will happen to the project if the assumptions and estimates turn out to be unreliable. It involves changing the assumptions or estimates in a calculation to see the impact on the project's finance. In this way, it prepares the business managers in case the project does not generate the expected results, so they can better analyze the project before making an investment. In capital budgeting calculations, Sensitivity analysis changes one assumption or estimate at a time to see how the results change. For example, a business may expect to earn $500 for the first year and $1,000 for the second and third year of a project. If the business makes an initial investment of $2,500, it will recoup its expenses in 3 years. However, the project may perform better than expected by generating $2,000 yearly in its second and third year. The business will then break even in 2 years. Next, I would like to explain some simple ideas on managing the budgeting process. Nowadays, many organizations use a budget team, which is headed by the organization's budget director or the controller, in order to coordinate the budgeting process. The budget team usually reports to a budget committee, which generally includes the Chief Executive Officer (CEO), the Chief Operating Officer (COO), and the Senior Executive Vice Presidents. Basically, the compositions of the budget committees reflects the role of the budgets as the planning document that reflects and relates to the organization's strategy and objective. However, using a budget committee may signal to other employees that budgeting is something that is relevant only for senior management. Thus, senior management must take steps to ensure that the organization's members affected by the budget do not perceive the budget and the budgeting process as something beyond their control or responsibility. Now, let us move to the behavioral aspects of budgeting. Normally, budgets do not develop smoothly because of the human factor involved in the process. There are two related areas are of particularly importance with respect to the behavioral issues, which are designing the budget process and influencing the budget process. I would like to explain about one of the related areas, which is designing the budget. In designing the budget, the first point is that we need to consider how should budgets be determined and who should be involved in the budgeting process. There are three common methods of setting budgets, which are authoritarian, participation, and consultation. Authoritarian method refers to superiors simply tell subordinates what their budget will be. Under participation method, all parties agree about setting the budget targets and using a joint decision-making process. For consultation method, managers will ask subordinates to discuss their ideas about the budget, but the managers are responsible to determine the final budget alone. Research shows that the most motivating types of budgets are those that are tied with targets that are perceived as ambitious but attainable. Recently, some companies have implemented what are known as stretch targets. Stretch targets exceed previous targets by a significant amount and usually require an enormous increase in a goals over the next budgeting period. The theory is that only in this manner will companies completely re-evaluate the ways in which they develop and produce products and services. That's all from me. Thank you.
Good day to everyone. My name is Lam Yue and metric number is 270642. Now, I will briefly talk about how the budgeting process be influenced. When incentive and compensation are tied to the budget, some managers have been known how to play budgeting games. This may indicate that they will manipulate some specific information and targets to achieve a higher bonus. So it is obviously showing that participation will provide the employees with more opportunity to affect their budgets in ways that may not always be in the best interest of the organization. Next, let me briefly explain about budget slack. Budget slack is created by requiring excess resources or distorting performance information. It is also deliberate underestimation of budgeted revenue or overestimation of budgeted expenses. This will allow the managers a much better chance of making their numbers, which is particularly important for them if performance appraisals and bonuses are tied to the achievement of budgeted number. Budgetary slack is most common when a company uses participative budgeting, since this form of budgeting involves the participation of a large number of employees, which will give more people a chance to introduce budgetary slack into the budget. If subordinates succeed in creating budget slack, they will find it easy to meet or exceed their budgeted objective. When there is budgetary slack for multiple consecutive years, a company may find that its overall performance has been declined in comparison to that of more aggressive competitors who use stretch goals. Therefore, budgetary slack can have a long-term negative impact on the profitability and competitive positioning of a business. And also, budgeting games can never be eliminated, although some organizations have devised methods to decrease the amount of budgetary slack. Next, we will discuss the benefits and problems that are associated with traditional budgeting. There are some benefits relating with traditional budgeting, which are it is the major formal way to translate objective into specific plan and tasks. Next, it will also an important medium for communication between upper level management and lower level employees. Besides, it also will help to achieve coordination between various departments and functions. Next, since traditional budgeting will involve all levels of management, it will eventually save management time. And also, the performance can also be reported and monitored well, and the result will be compared to the planned budget and do some evaluation on it. For the problems, it divides in three aspects, which are competitive strategy, business process, and organizational capacity. For competitive strategy, traditional budgeting will be more concentrated on cost reduction rather than value creation. It tends to be bureaucratic and eventually discourage creative thinking. Traditional budgeting will also consume time and is costly to be implemented. It will also encourage gaming and dysfunctional behavior, which is the problem of traditional budgeting. Next, the problem is traditional budgeting will only reinforce departmental barriers rather than encourage knowledge sharing. This will obviously make the employees feel undervalued. So, that's all for our presentation on Chapter 3. Thank you for watching.